Hi YouTube, welcome back to Wtf Rc Cars. So we've got the Flysky INR4 GYB, but this can be any enhanced receiver, and what I'm wanting to do is monitor the voltage of the actual LiPo that I'm running the drift car off because it lasts quite a long time. So we have the BVD cable. So I'm going to bring in, show you how we set this up, and then I'll take you through the settings on the MB4 Pro Plus, but it's pretty much same on all of them, and it'll give you an idea on how to set up your monitoring so you can have it on screen and so you can have alarms for it. But let's bring in for a close-up look, see how we get on with this one. So we have as receiver, as LiPo and as transmitter, and basically what I'm wanting to do is keep an eye on the battery level on these on the internal LiPo that I'm running the RC off, so I can monitor this because these last an awful long time. There's multiple ways that you can do it, but I'm going to use the BVD cable. Now, because I'm monitoring the same battery that the ESC and the receiver's running off, we don't need the positive and negative from here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to pop the negative one out, because if your negative shorts to positive while it's plugged into the receiver, it's going to at least melt this cable and probably break your receiver and ESC. So because it's the one that we're running the ESC off and the receiver, we only need the positive pin, and just make sure you don't take this little component off. So I'm going to start off by separating these. So a bit of a fiddly job, but all I'm going to do is split these two wires. And if you're careful with it, you can just hold them and spin them. Don't try pulling them apart because they'll just knot up. But if you just carefully spin them like that, splitting it with your hand, you'll be able to get these apart. And then let's see if I've got something kicking around here small enough. But if you just carefully lift it up, you can take that out and you can keep that negative one separate. So now we've got us BVD cable, and then all I'm going to do to get it to where I want it, I'm going to follow the receiver wire just to keep it tidy. I'll follow this all the way up back past his motor, I think, on this one. And just be really careful if you're doing this and you've still got the negative attached. So once we get up close enough, I'm trying to keep all this on camera so you can see what I'm doing, because I get quite a few messages about these BVD cables, and when I do videos people say I go too quick, so they can't see what I'm doing, especially with these weird little cables and how we're setting them up. So I'm just going to work this around. So I'm just going to get this to as power feed, and you just want this so there's a little bit of slack in it. So we're going to want it down to that length. Then I'm just going to cut the cable so there's a little bit of excess, and then I'm just going to try and get this under here. So let's see if I can get enough room in there. All I'm trying to do is get that cable to come out the bottom where as positive is, and then I'm just going to solder it on. This is fiddly. Got it. So once we've got it all the way to end, I'm just going to bear a little bit of that and solder it directly to its positive connection, and then we've got us wire nice and tidy. And I'll show you how to set it up on the actual transmitter so we can get us BVD voltage read, so we constantly know as voltage of our internal LiPo. So there we have it, as BVD cable fastened, plenty of slack so we're not going to snap it when we're pulling cable in that for his battery, and we got it fastened on. So next thing we're going to have to do is get the transmitter, and I'll show you it powered up, show you how to change the settings, and see what we can do with this. So we've got his transmitter on, we've got his RC on. So what we can do on here, we can go into sensors, we can go to choose sensor, we can change this to be the BVD. So now we can see we're getting 8.05 volt. And let's see if we can get it to react. So as we start using the RC, you can see as voltage will drop. So next thing we can do, we can go into here, we can go into as RX menu, then we can go to battery voltage monitoring, we can go to a sensor, we can change that to BVD. Now if we know as maximum voltage is going to be 8.4, so basically we're setting the limits of this as low voltage. Now you can set this down to whatever you want, but it's gonna change how this RX icon works. And then you've got the alarm voltage, so I basically want it to tell me when it's at 6.6 volt. So if we come off now, if I unplug the BVD, which is simulating as receiver battery going low or disconnecting,
receiver voltage low,
and as soon as I plug it in, we get in an actual icon that will work its way down as this voltage drops. At a glance we can see what the voltage is, and we've got an alarm that will go off and tell us
receiver voltage low.
So as soon as you hear receiver voltage low, you know that your RC battery has reached the alarm trigger point that you want it to do. The RX voltage that it's reading is the BEC voltage, so we can constantly see as BEC, and we can constantly see the actual voltage of his RC battery as well. Comes in really useful, especially if you've got something where the battery lasts an awful long time. You may be running it and you're keeping your eye on it. If you've took a couple of batteries where you're drifting, you may just want to run them both down to sort of storage voltage. At least doing it this way, you can keep an eye on it. As soon as they get close to storage, you can just pull your car, swap battery, and then use your other one till you drain it down. Also saves you having to constantly go back to your car and check your battery on your battery checker to see what your voltage is at. Technically you could take an extra BVD reading or voltage reading, because you can run voltage sensors as well. So you could have the old pack voltage, and you can go into the balance plug, and you could basically have it reading out every cell on vehicle, even a 6S vehicle. You can keep adding voltage sensors and read all 6 if you want. But this way I find it more convenient with it soldered in than plugging into balance lead and that, and especially if you're running race packs, there's no balance lead. The standard pins that come on the BVD plug straight into balance leads, so that can be quite convenient. But I just really like how clean it is when it's just soldered directly in and you've not got the extra negative pin, so you're not going to touch things. Just make sure that you leave this little component in line, because if you cut that out, it's not going to work properly. But really convenient to have your voltage on screen constantly. You can also see how much your voltage is dipping as you're hitting throttle and running the RC. But yeah, that is how you get the BVD set up. The only difference with the MB4 and the MB4 Plus, you won't have the extra sort of readouts on the screen, but you can still set your RX voltage, and you can still have some of the readouts. You've got like a longer list or a list where you've got 4. You can still set it to that. It just looks a lot nicer on the Pros. But let's wrap this one up. So there we have it, battery voltage monitoring on his little drift car. As I said, all the enhanced receivers will work with this. You can set the RX icon and everything same on all the MB4 radios, so MB4, MB4 Plus. It's just the Pros have got a bit of a nicer way of displaying it. But you can have it reading out on them. It still amazes me how well this INR4 works as a gyro. Definitely really enjoying it drifting. But thanks again for watching Wtf Rc Cars. If you like this kind of content, don't forget to like and subscribe, hit the notification bell, share to friends and family, and catch you guys again in the next one.